The moment when Enoch disappeared from the world of men is one of the most mysterious passages in the entire Bible. In the book of Genesis, his story is told in only a few short words. The text simply says that Enoch walked with God, and then suddenly it declares that he was no more, because God took him. No explanation follows. No details are given. The narrative continues as if something extraordinary had happened, yet the writer leaves that moment wrapped in silence. And it is precisely that silence that has fascinated readers for centuries. What does it truly mean that God took him? Did Enoch simply die in a different way than other human beings? Or was he taken alive into another realm beyond the world humans can see? These questions have been discussed by scholars, theologians, and readers of ancient texts for generations. Yet some of the oldest traditions preserved in Jewish mystical literature offer a far more dramatic explanation. According to those ancient writings, the story of Enoch did not end when he disappeared from the earth. That moment was only the beginning. One of the most intriguing texts is the third book of Enoch. In this account, Enoch undergoes a transformation so extraordinary it captures the imagination. Enoch was not only taken to heaven, he was transformed into one of the most powerful beings in the entire celestial world. Metatron. The name Metatron appears in several ancient traditions, and in those writings he is described as one of the highest-ranking beings in heaven. Some texts call him the Prince of the Divine Presence. Others describe him as the Heavenly Scribe, recording the history of humanity. How can a human being become an angel? How could someone who once lived on earth suddenly occupy such a powerful position in heaven? Everything began when Enoch was brought into the heavenly realm. The messengers guided him through regions that no human had ever seen. He reached a place where his human nature could no longer remain. The glory of the divine presence was too powerful. Enoch was clothed in light. His eyes became like flames of fire. His body was filled with the heavenly force that no ordinary human could possess. His form began to change until nothing remained of the simple man. And at that moment, he received a new name, Metatron. According to the text, many of the heavenly hosts were astonished. They asked, how could a former human be given such authority? This reaction reveals that heaven is not chaotic. It is a structured realm with hierarchy, responsibility, and order. Every angel has a role. Metatron was presented before the heavenly hosts. There he was given garments of glory. Crowns of light were placed upon his head. His wisdom was expanded so that he could understand mysteries far beyond human knowledge. His task was to record the story of humanity. Every generation, every action, all of it becomes part of a record preserved in heaven. Human history may form part of a larger narrative. If people believed their choices were part of a greater story observed beyond the earth, would they live their lives differently? According to these ancient writings, heaven is an organized realm filled with movement, responsibility, and purpose. There are different orders of angels. As Metatron was guided further, he began to approach a place that very few beings are allowed to see. The center of celestial authority, the place where the divine throne stands. As Metatron continued to move deeper into the heavenly realms, he began to realize that everything he had seen so far was only a small part of a much greater reality. The heavenly world was not a quiet or empty place. It was alive with activity, movement, and purpose. From the perspective of the earth, the sky often appears calm and distant, filled only with stars and silence. But from within the heavens themselves, the reality looked entirely different. Everywhere Metatron turned, he saw hosts of angels carrying out different responsibilities. Some moved with incredible speed across the vast regions of heaven, as if they were delivering messages or instructions between different realms. Others stood in enormous formations, guarding the boundaries between the levels of the heavens. Some appeared to watch the movements of the stars, while others seemed connected to the forces of nature that influenced the earth. This observation revealed something remarkable. The universe was not chaotic. It was structured. Every angel had a task. Every movement had meaning. Nothing seemed accidental. As Metatron watched this incredible order, he began to understand something that many people on Earth rarely consider. The visible world may only be a small part of a much larger system. What humans perceive as random events might actually belong to a greater story. If the history of humanity is connected to a greater structure in the heavens, how much of our world is influenced by realities that we cannot see? While Metatron observed the countless hosts of angels, he also began to learn about the hierarchy that exists within the heavenly world. Not all angels carry the same responsibilities. Some are messengers, others are guardians. Some serve near the outer regions of heaven, while others stand closer to the center of celestial authority. The closer one moves toward the center of the heavenly structure, the more powerful and radiant the beings appear to become. Metatron noticed that certain angels carried an authority that the others respected immediately. These beings stood in positions of leadership. Their presence was stronger, their light brighter, and their voices carried a tone of command. Yet there was no sign of conflict or rivalry. Everything functioned within perfect order. This harmony revealed another important truth. The heavenly world does not operate like human kingdoms. Instead, every role appears to exist for the purpose of maintaining balance within the entire creation. As Metatron continued to observe these realities, he became increasingly aware of the responsibility that had been given to him. His role as the heavenly scribe was not merely symbolic. It carried real importance within the structure of heaven. The actions of humanity were not meaningless events. According to the ancient text, the story of each generation was preserved. Every decision, every conflict, every act of courage or betrayal became part of a record that was maintained in the heavenly realm. If the story of humanity is preserved beyond the earth, does that mean that history itself has a deeper purpose? Could it be that the events unfolding across centuries are part of a narrative larger than human understanding? While these thoughts formed in his mind, Metatron continued to be guided through the regions of heaven toward the central domain. As he approached this region, the light around him began to grow stronger. Unlike the light of the sun that shines upon the earth, this light seemed to originate from a deeper source, something more powerful than any natural phenomenon humans had ever experienced. The angels guiding him moved with greater reverence now. Their voices became quieter, their movements more careful. It was clear that they were approaching a place of immense significance. Soon Metatron began to see vast assemblies of angels. Their radiance was overwhelming. Some of them appeared like living flames. Others shone like lightning. Some were crowns of brilliant light, while others carried objects whose meaning would be difficult for human minds to fully understand. Their voices rose together in powerful songs that echoed across the heavens. They were expressions of awe and knowledge. As Metatron looked upon this gathering, he realized that he was approaching the center of celestial authority, the place where the divine throne stands. And the closer he came to that place, the more he understood that the greatest mysteries were still waiting to be revealed. As Metatron continued moving toward the inner regions of heaven, he began to realize that everything he had seen so far was preparing him. Everything was preparing him for something even greater. The structure of the heavens and the countless hosts of angels seemed to point toward authority. The vast order that governed the universe all seemed to point toward a central source. The closer he came, the more intense the atmosphere became. The light around him grew stronger, but it was not a blinding light. It was clear, powerful, and pure, carrying a presence that filled the realm. The angels guiding him now moved with greater reverence than before. Their voices became softer, and their movements more careful. It was obvious that they were approaching a region of the heavens that few beings were allowed to see. As Metatron continued forward, he began to notice groups of angels whose presence was more powerful than any he had previously encountered. Their radiance was extraordinary. Their forms seemed almost like living flames of light. Some of them stood in enormous ranks stretching across the heavenly horizon. Others moved in smaller groups, speaking with one another as if discussing matters of great importance. These beings appeared to belong to the highest orders of angels. Ancient traditions often describe such beings as seraphim and cherubim. In many ancient writings, they are portrayed as guardians of the divine presence and servants who stand closest to the throne of heaven. As Metatron observed them, he realized that even among the countless angels there existed levels of authority and responsibility. Some angels carried messages across the heavens. Others guarded boundaries between realms. But these beings seemed to serve in roles connected directly to the center of divine power. Their voices rose together in powerful declarations that echoed across the heavens. These declarations were not ordinary speech. They were proclamations of truth about creation itself. They spoke of the order that holds the universe together and the power that sustains all things. Hearing these voices made Metatron understand something that perhaps few humans ever considered. The universe may not simply exist as a collection of stars and planets scattered across empty space. Instead, it may function within a structure that includes realities beyond human sight. This realization raises another fascinating question. If such a structure exists, how much of our understanding of reality is incomplete? As Metatron continued observing these immense hosts, he began to see how the heavens functioned as a living system. Angels moved between different regions, carrying out tasks that maintained balance within creation. Some departed toward the lower realms. Others returned from missions that had taken them beyond the heavens. This movement revealed that heaven was not a silent place of stillness. It was a realm filled with purpose and activity. Every being present seemed aware of their role within the larger structure. This order stood in striking contrast to the world of humans, where confusion and conflict often appear to dominate history. Yet from the perspective of heaven, everything seemed to operate within a harmony that extended across the entire universe. As Metatron continued to approach the central region of heaven, he noticed something else that caught his attention. Certain angels stood closer to the center than all the others. Their light was even more powerful, and their presence seemed filled with authority. These beings appeared to guard the approach to the most sacred place within the heavenly realm. The closer Metatron came to this region, the more he felt that he was nearing the ultimate center of celestial authority, the place where the throne of heaven stands. And as he continued forward, he began to realize that the vision awaiting him there would reveal one of the greatest mysteries. The greatest mystery of the entire heavenly world. As Metatron finally approached the inner center of the heavenly realm, he began to witness a vision that surpassed everything he had seen before. The light surrounding that region was more intense than any light he had encountered during his ascent through the heavens. Yet it was not chaotic or overwhelming. Instead, it radiated a deep sense of order, power, and authority. The angels who guided him now moved with great reverence, as if they were entering a place of profound importance within the structure of creation. Before Metatron stood an immense assembly of celestial beings. Their number was beyond counting. Their presence filled the heavens with light and sound. Some stood in vast formations that stretched far into the distance, while others moved in precise patterns as if they were fulfilling specific responsibilities. These beings appeared even more radiant than the angels Metatron had encountered before. Their forms seemed composed of light itself. Ancient traditions often describe such beings as the highest orders of angels who serve closest to the divine presence. Their voices rose together in powerful declarations that echoed across the heavenly realms. These voices did not simply produce music or sound. They proclaimed truths about the nature of creation, about the order that sustains the universe, and about the power that maintains all things. As Metatron observed this extraordinary gathering, he began to understand that he had reached the center of celestial authority, the place where the divine throne stands. The ancient text describes the throne using imagery that attempts to convey a reality far beyond ordinary language. It speaks of fire surrounding the throne, but not the destructive fire known on earth. Instead, it is a living flame, a pure light of divine power. Lightning-like brilliance radiated outward from that central place. The entire heavenly realm seemed to orient itself around this point. From this throne, the order of creation is sustained. From this place, the universe itself continues to exist. As Metatron witnessed this vision, he realized the universe is not merely an empty space. It is part of a structure upheld by authority and design. While he stood there, Metatron also noticed angels approaching and departing from that sacred center. Some came forward to receive instructions. Others departed quickly, as though assigned tasks, across the heavens, or even toward the earth. Some returned again, as if reporting the completion of their missions. This movement revealed that heaven is not a place of stillness. It is a place of activity, decision, and responsibility. Every angel appears to serve within a system that maintains the balance of creation itself. As Metatron continued observing this order, he began to understand more clearly the role that had been given to him. As the heavenly scribe, his responsibility was to record the unfolding story of humanity. Every generation, every choice, every action becomes part of a record preserved beyond the limits of time. This idea suggests something profound. Human history may not simply fade away as centuries pass. Instead, it may form part of a greater narrative that extends beyond the visible world. This raises a question: if the story of humanity exists within a cosmic record, what does that mean for the choices people make every day? While Metatron contemplated these things, he began to understand that his transformation from Enoch into Metatron had a deeper purpose. A human being had been brought into the heavenly realm and transformed into a being of light. This transformation created a unique bridge between two worlds, the world of humanity and the world of heaven. The journey of Enoch did not simply end when he disappeared from the earth. It continued within the heavens themselves, revealing mysteries about the relationship between the human world and the greater structure of creation.